Dean here, Dean 78904. If you want to get all technical, it is a Tuesday. It's a big boy slate, not messing around. 15 gamers. Our apologies for jumping on a few minutes late. You have Head Chopper, and we got Kirkwood, Kirk D's. We got the Triple G plays. We got the Juggalo plays. We have the Bat and DerekCarty coming in about an hour and 10 minutes. STL cards also on layaway in crunch time. Cheap interologist Kevin Roth will be holding that down. Jumping on at 6:15. Definitely going to need Roth tonight because he just updated his weather. I'll go ahead and drop this in chat for the people as well. A little bit better in New York. It was straight orange earlier in the day. Now it's orange yellow. That's Milwaukee at the Mets. Yellow, green at Baltimore. Green, yellow at Pittsburgh. It appears that the most dicey potential situation will be the Mets when it comes to precipitation. Positive pitching weather in Chicago. That's Wrigley. Winds 10 miles per hour coming in from left field as well. Oh, I didn't see this. Apparently some air quality issues, but all indications currently are that they're going to play ball there for the Cubbies. Chop, how's Tuesday treating you? Doing all right?
Let me see, Dean. Let me think about that for a minute. Yeah, I guess everything's all right. I can't complain, Dean. It's hot, but that is what it is. It's to be expected in Texas during the summertime.
You got the AC down there, right?
Yeah, I got the AC, but it's hot. No big deal. It's 15 gamer. Threw me off guard today. Not really used to that on a Tuesday night, but it happens, and so we're gonna grind through it, man.
I don't know if this is the way it's going to be going forward, but I think a lot of it is when school was in, we were having 640 games, but the teams that were doing that were like the Marlins, they're on the road, the Reds, they're on the road. I think there's a couple other teams that would participate and move those times around. So I wonder if this is how it's going to be going forward, or it's just because we have the teams that would do the early start on the road. Therefore, 15 games on a Tuesday night. We haven't gotten that too often all season long. But, it's a lot to digest. This slate's got everything. It's got a bunch of stud pitchers. It has Dodgers at almost a 7.5, 8 total in Coors Field. Max Muncy expected back. All of a sudden, his hamstring felt spectacular, and he learned he was getting hit the baseballs tonight in Coors. No Altuve, no Sal Perez. Yu Darvish was scratched as well. Several stud pitchers, several cheap pitchers. Kirkwood, man, this slate is
what did you say about Max Muncy?
He's back, right?
Yeah. I thought you said he wasn't going to be back. Okay.
Well, so he, his hamstring was. Who knows how his hamstring felt this morning or yesterday or 2 days ago? But when he saw the games in Coors, he's like, "Oh, my hamstring feels spectacular. Let's go." I don't know if he's officially been activated. We're expecting him to get activated tonight. Buxton, by the way, back in the lineup for Minnesota. I mentioned no Sal Perez, no Altuve. Did I mention that one? Altuve not expected to be in the Houston lineup tonight against Montgomery.
Now I'm going to
get crazy cheap on Yahoo.
No, I'm going to get some stupid alerts that I got to go in and change my my rankings. Right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I already did mine. I did appreciate.
I know, but I have Altuve in there, and I'm gonna. You already changed him out of there.
Yeah. I saw the alert coming, and I had a few minutes. Also, CJ Cron is back for Colorado. I don't know if that's enough to make you stack the Rockies because Clayton Kershaw on the bump there for the Dodgers. So many good pitchers, some good cheap stuff. Kirkwood, this slate is loaded. Are you making just one lineup? Because it's a tough slate to make just like one main lineup on. I'm going to have one main lineup on DK as well. And I'm sort of open as far as the direction I'm going to go in, but I don't know. Have you settled or you're still kind of figuring it out?
I'm here to learn with you guys. So 15 games. It's like I have a process that I go and when I do a show and I do everything too. Like 15 games makes it impossible. It's just too much. But so I do have general direction. I wrote up some plays that I like today. I know where I'm going on DraftKings at this point, but I'm open to pivoting. Right, like we're always making changes. Right, like up until the bell, up until lock. So
yeah, for sure.
I'm interested to hear what you and Chop say and take it all in before I build my lineups. It's not crunch time. So we get that nice half hour, 40 minutes to build right after the show. But I have an idea.
So we typically start with pitchers.
One play you're not going to like. Yeah.
You have a play that you're kind of locked in and I'm not going to like it for some reason. Are you playing Julio Teheran? Is that what you're doing?
No.
Oh, okay. I've been trying to pick on that guy every single start and
it is a pitcher though.
That I'm not going to like?
Probably. You probably didn't. I would bet you probably didn't really consider it much.
Well, is it possibly Martin Perez just to save some salary?
No, you're in the area though.
Okay. Well, there's some other, okay. I like a cheap pitcher that I don't typically like, but I like him today. And there's a couple cheap pitchers that we'll talk about. Martin Perez is 5.7 on DK. He's facing Detroit. Gavin Williams against Kansas City without Sal Perez. That lineup is horrendous. Big time prospect there for Cleveland. Mixed results against Oakland, and his price is still really, really cheap at 5.9. I think the most popular one amongst the cheapies is going to be Rick Flair's favorite player, of course, Brian Wu for Seattle, 6.9 against the Washington Nationals. And I think my favorite amongst this group, we'll talk about it. I think my favorite, Kirkwood, is Ranger Suarez, which is an uncomfortable thing to say out loud. And that's kind of where I'm at. I'm open to be swayed, but he's been very, very good. Ton of ground balls. The ballpark is not playing for homers today unless he gets BABIP. I feel pretty good about him. Ranger Suarez is probably my favorite cheapie. And you didn't have a reaction, so I'm guessing he's not. Did I hit on one of your guys there or no? Am I still missing the mark?
He is not one of my guys.
Okay. Am I on Ranger Suarez Island tonight? Because it's not comfortable. I'm going to play some Ranger Suarez.
It didn't take chat long to figure it out.
All right. So should I cheat and look at chat? Let's see. Oh, Whitlock. Yeah, you liked Whitlock last time. You want to pick on the Marlins. That's not a terrible idea. I don't mind that. Yeah, that's all right. Jazz is back, though, for Miami. Should mention that.
With his 35% with his 35% K percentage.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you can look at it both ways. I mean, you have a Rise leading off. You got to get some strikeouts somewhere. And he's not going to strike out for sure. He'll get his singles. Good for him. Chop, your assessment as far as this slate. What's the strategy? Are we building a bunch of lineups, making one or two, jumping on both sides? Sometimes you fire out a bunch of MME. It's a really good slate to MME. But time and money. What's the deal? What's the plan tonight?
The plan, Dean, is I like this deal where I do 150 on Fanduel and I do 4 lineups on DraftKings, and it's kind of good for now. I got to tweak my process because I changed my process about 2 weeks ago and it hasn't worked out. I've been bleeding cash on DraftKings, so I need to change that up a little bit. And but yeah, I'll go 4 on DraftKings, 150 on FanDuel, and let the chips fall where they may.
Well, Chop, last night, the organic Chop stack won all the money. It was a 3-man stack with a bunch of one-offs, or completely organic, and it shipped everything last night on DraftKings. I don't have it up in front of me, but I did look at it. I don't remember who the three people were.
Short slate too, though. It's also 6 games where you're more apt to fall into that.
But I immediately saw a lineup. I was like, oh man, that could be Chopper, and then it was like, darn,
yeah. My son need to tweak my settings, man. It didn't give me the organic stack.
It's going to be hard to hit a 1-1, 1-1, 1-1, 1-1 stack on a 15-game slate. But if anybody can do it, Chop, I think you can do it.
Yeah, Dean. Well, you know what? The whole thing is you can't get locked into one process. You have to be pliable, Dean, because like you said in the intro, we have a team with an almost 8-team total tonight in Coors Field. So, there's going to be some stacks here that ramp up the leaderboard. So I don't know about the old organic. I might have to be forcing some stacks tonight because there's some good offenses out there, Dean.
Do you have an official stance as far as how you're handling the Dodgers? I think that's one of the biggest questions in the slate. Are you going to kind of be with the field? You're going to be over? You're going to be under? Are you locking in like you're making 150? You're going to put a rule at least 2 Dodgers in every team? Anything like that?
Oh yeah, I'll definitely be overweight. Let's put it like that. I'll be overweight for sure. I'm not the contrarian thing is fine, but I'm not trying to just give my money away. So I don't know right now if on FanDuel there's a thought that crosses my mind. Let's just lock in the Dodgers, man, for a 4-man stack on all 150, and let's just see what there's a piece of me that wants to do. I don't know if I'm going to get that bold, but
the old Sahil.
Is that what? Oh yeah. Good idea. Good
You know
call.
what else we were talking about back in the day today? We were talking about McJester. Remember him?
He was he won a couple of live finals, right?
Yeah,
He was very good.
he was at the first live final I made. He was there, and he was definitely making a scene.
He was an interesting character when I saw him.
So it was like I had chatted with him a little bit on Twitter, like back and forth.
Yeah.
And so this was like at the very beginning when I thought I was way better than I was, and like just getting immersed in the world. And then like I was kind of excited to meet him. Like I was like, oh, he'll be there. I can't wait to meet him. And then I saw the way he was at, I was like, I'm all set.
You got enough. Peripherally, you're good.
I saw enough. Like, wait for a different time, maybe different time. But he was a goat.
Yeah, I don't. Does he still play? Do we know if he still plays? I don't know. I'm not sure. I have no clue. I hope he's doing well though. No Dodger lineup out officially just yet, Chop. But the chat's already talking about it. You know, the triple G's, the Juggalo plays, but they're excited about the prospect of the old reach around stack and maybe James Outland bats in the nine spot. Have you selected that one for you, Chop? The people always want that one as well, or are we still kind of figuring that out? Your favorite?
Oh no, we're figuring that out as we go. We got to figure that out as we go. I need some more. I need the lineups to drop here. I need the big lineups to drop. They ain't out yet, Dean. So we'll play it by ear.
Yeah, we're still waiting for. Well, yeah, it's obviously early, but I thought we had a Houston lineup. Did we not get a Houston lineup? For some reason, that's not popping up on the RG page, but I thought for sure I saw it on Twitter. No Dodgers. Obviously there's a bunch of West Coast games too, so no White Sox or Angels or Rays. Diamondbacks, Yankees, A's, Mariners, and Nationals. So they'll be sprinkling it on through, obviously, throughout the show. Yeah. Kirkwood, what is your official Dodgers stance? Did I ask you? Did you say? Or you're still kind of figuring out? You said you're going to wait and see what me and Chop have to say. Like, you know what the Dodgers? You've heard of the Dodgers. You know Coors Field. You know how that works. Connor Seabold, you're not afraid of him. Do we know what we're officially doing with the Dodgers, or we're still kind of figuring it out?
Yeah, I have conflicted feelings. So this is, this is, I mean, everything that I know, I shouldn't be playing the Dodgers, but what am I going to end up doing? I'm going to end up playing the Dodgers. I'm going to end up playing smaller field stuff. And I won with some chalk the other day. So I feel like this is my little chalk stretch where I've lost so much playing chalk, playing chords first game, like I'm going to like double up tonight. I'm going to min cash everything tonight is what I feel like with the Dodgers. But
we'll take it,
yeah, we'll take it. So I'm going to get a little different a pitcher for DraftKings. This slate is bananas. This slate has everything, right? Like it's got the top. So like we saw like what happened, right? Like everyone went out of their way. Like you got to play Strider in this strikeout matchup. And he delivered, right? He delivered 10 Ks. Yeah.
That was his projection. His projection was like 9.7 on the bat. And I don't know if I've ever seen like a median projection that high, but that's, he's the biggest K pitcher in baseball versus what's that?
You didn't need him though. You didn't. You all you needed was Detmers and Cease.
Yeah,
which I played well. So like, so I think that's going to be in a lot of people's heads tonight. But we still have some high end pitching. Like Shohei could absolutely go bonkers. Who else we've got on the top end? So I mean, Gaussman, absolutely in a good matchup for strikeouts against San Fran. Also, the other ones I'm not so crazy. Like I'm not crazy about playing Kershaw and Coors. I get it from like an ownership situation and how bad the Rockies are, but it obviously doesn't excite me. Framber, I'm not excited about, although he could go out there and do it like he always does.
Always.
Yep. Joe Ryan could be good against Atlanta. I'm probably not going to play him, but he could be.
Oh wait, no Trout tonight. No Trout.
Yeah, so I mean, there's everything, and then we've got the Nature Boy coming in, underpriced. I've been playing this guy slate after slate. It's got a great fastball, so I like him. But on DraftKings, I like my Whitlock play. I'll get to that when we start. But I mean, there's so many different ways and avenues to go, and like so every other offense is going to be under owned. Coors, I think like Dodgers are going to come in more than the projected ownership at this point because everyone just piles on. But there are plenty of good offensive spots. The Rangers are up there for me. The Padres are up there for me, although they've been gutless. Who else? Seattle?
I think the Mets are kind of interesting.
Yeah, the Mets are interesting too. And especially with Uncle Stevie calling a meeting. What happened with that, Chop? Did you read about that?
He's calling it tomorrow, though. Like, what's he doing today? Why is he
putting the pressure on everybody? He's like, you better win by 15 runs tonight, or else you're all out of here. You know, like.
Yeah, I mean, okay. And Julio Teheran, like the biggest like potential pumpkin or whatever you want to call him, regression monster candidate in all of baseball. It seems like, I'm super stubborn. I keep stacking against him. It's not worked, and I'm convinced that like today's the day. Weather has to cooperate as well because. Like we said, a bit more, a positive news. I guess we could look at it that way. It was straight orange early in the day. Now it's, what is it, orange yellow? Got to see what Roth has to say. But if we get the all clear, at least it's worth throwing some darts in tournaments. I will definitely have at least one Mets stack. Chop, what was Kirkwood asking you about the Mets, about the Padres? What sort of stacks did you want to talk about?
What stack? We're already at stacks. We already shot through pitchers.
No, not at all. But like Kirkwood was asking you a question, and this is sort of a conversation. We generally stick to pitchers first, then stacks. But
I don't know, Dean. He was talking about the Mets and the.
He was throwing it to you, so I didn't want to like ignore the question.
I don't know what the press conference is about. Who knows? Maybe the guy
was probably focused on picking a good reach around right at the moment. No,
I'm not messing around with that. I'm not thinking about that at all. But I think it's clearly on your mind. I mean, you must be studying the reach arounds today. I mean, I don't know, but I was just looking at these
propriety, like your BBP stuff. Is that
no? I'm not big. I'm not big into the reach around world. That's like an underground thing going on. I don't mess with it. But I was just looking at the lineups, Dean. I'm trying to sort through as we get lineups. I'm trying to sort through like, is there any kind of help I can get from teams sitting certain hitters, and maybe that could help me out a little bit. Like you said Trout when we were like boom right there on air. Hey man, that's huge for Kopech. I don't hate Kopech now, not at all. So I can put him on my list. With Trout, he probably doesn't make the cut tonight. Without Trout, sure. You're going around, you're looking at some of the lineups and just seeing if I know Baltimore's down a couple guys tonight, and Boston's not starting Yoshida. Not that I'm gonna probably pick on Boston anyway. I mean, Alcantara, oof, buddy. Let me tell you something.
It's brutal how bad he's.
One thing that stood out to me when I was looking at the slate, pulling up some numbers, he's given up 54 earned runs this year so far. We're not even at the All-Star break. He gave up 58 the whole season last year. He's just not been the same guy. So, but that would help theoretically, but I don't think I'm going there on this kind of a slate. Altuve, not being in the lineup, Jordan injured. That's a bad lineup now. KC with a pretty decent and very interesting pitcher on the mound. No Sal Perez. Vinny Linguini's on the injured list, so it's not not a lineup that you fear at all. There's a few lineups out there that took a little hit today. Texas, I like Texas. I like the Texas stack, but you're removing Josh Young out of the lineup and one of the better hitting catchers in the game, Mitch Garver, not playing. So yeah, it's interesting, Dean. That's what I'm kind of focused on right now. This time of day, that's what I'm looking at. Lineups drop. Can I get anything out of there that helps me pick a pitcher or picks against a stack in some way, shape, or form? That's where my mind is right now. But I don't know.
Manning's been one of the worst pitchers in a small sample. He's been completely horrendous, giving up over 3 homers per 9. He was bad in his rehab starts as well. Probably doesn't go around the lineup more than 2 times, if that. But I think Texas is one of the best pivots away from LA, and the thought process would be get the Manning early, 7-2 in the 5th, and you're getting the worst of the Detroit arms from, the 5th through the 8th inning. Obviously, you don't grab the 9th. I missed that Young was out. That is somewhat important. Do love Nate Lowe is one of my favorite plays on the slate. Seager, Semien, obviously they're spectacular, but Lowe from the left-hand side versus Manning looks like a pretty solid play. Kirkwood, what were you saying?
I kind of like Sandy Alcantara.
Okay. But like on this slate?
I think this is the slate. I think I think he's going to turn it on like immediately. And it's really, so he had one bad inning in the last game. And of course, it was a terrible inning, but he had 6 of 7 shutout innings. His changeup has been nowhere to be found. But once that comes along, for these, I follow some pitching analysis, and they're high on him too. And so I've totally bought in that this would be a great pickup for your season long. I would trade for him if you could, Dean.
Yeah, it's funny. I thought he was getting like BABIPs, and like I've watched him a good chunk this year, and it's not even that. Like his BABIP this year is 293. He was supposed to be like coming into this year. They were saying this is one of the guys that might fall victim to the lack of the shift. Like he benefited tremendously from the shift last year. I think his BABIP was significantly lower, if I'm not mistaken. But like the Sierra is still not good at 4.38. Yeah, the ERA is over 5, and I guess you can argue he's been a little bit unlucky. The homer and the fly ball, though, 8.8%. That's protected by that ballpark as well. So it's not even homers that are getting him. 0.75 homers per 9. It's just he's just giving up a slew of hits, man. But I still believe that he's not this bad, which is, I guess that's not a bold statement. You guys see Manoah today? Manoah gave up 11 runs to a bunch of 18-year-olds. Yeah. That's wild.
I mean, crazy. Crazy how you can go from all-star to rookie league giving up home runs. Like, can't even figure it out.
Yeah, he's still on my bench in one of my season-long teams. So I gotta let it go, right? I gotta cut him off. That's it. That's gotta be the last straw.
I've got ideas.
Since you're advising me for my season-long teams,
I've got ideas how to help him.
Oh,
I think him and Kirk need a good workout program, good diet. He's always been huffing and puffing on the mound. He has the clock. He couldn't take the speed up clock. I think you have to get rid of him for season long, but I don't think we've seen the last of him.
Fair enough. Maybe he converts like a Rick Ankiel and he becomes like a center fielder for the next 7 years. Can he do that?
Maybe catcher.
Well, they already have Alejandro Kirk, so. All right, so hey,
Bobby's asking me to go to Santarpio's in chat. I'm not on a diet. I eat Santarpio's three times a week.
Is that like Italian food? I assume? Was that his place?
It's pizza.
Maybe he's starting the diet tomorrow, not you.
Oh, is that what he means?
I don't know. Maybe.
Oh, he starts the diet tomorrow. Yeah, he would be. He's someone who does.
Why are you frowning on it? Like,
get you some good sand. Get you some Santarps and watch the baseball games, man.
They don't have TV. They don't have TVs in there. They're so old. It's like stepping back into the 70s. They still have like all the boxer paraphernalia on the wall, like the photos of the boxer who came in. They haven't changed a thing. They don't take credit cards. They haven't changed a thing. And so here, I'll tell a quick story. It's the best. It's arguably the best pizza in Boston. It's different. It's definitely top 3, but they're all like people like different ones. But basically, it's their way or the highway. So they're open till midnight every night. And I was in there at the bar at 11:30, and it was like 11:40. And someone opened the door and they were like, we're closed early. And they were like, oh my God, we just took a 45-minute cab ride. The website said you were open, and we heard this was the best pizza in Boston. And he goes, you know what? He goes, what? He goes, you almost made it. And he closed the door on him. And like that's their attitude. Like it's people, you go in there, you're like scared to like eat anything. You like to order if you're like a tourist.
It's got I just pulled up the Yelp on it. I'm trying to get the official score here. I can't read it. It's just 4 stars. Is that what it is? 4 stars out of 5. There you go. There's no decimal points. It's just 4 stars. All right.
I guarantee you they're knocked the point off for like service. Like it's totally service.
I'll read like the worst comment. I'll see if I can figure it out on the fly, I suppose. But back to the slate. We mentioned Ohtani. Ohtani's even the most popular pitcher in the slate according to ownership. We have 36% facing Chicago, 11.3K on DK. It's interesting. You kind of mentioned this as well, Kirkwood. Like Gausman has got a pretty good matchup as well. 24% for Kevin Gausman, a little bit cheaper than Ohtani. And then there's these other like really good name pitchers. Zach Gallen, He's going to get 8%. Kershaw is in core. He's going to get 10%. Framber Valdez, who's just like money, a quality start machine, 5%. He's facing St. Louis. St. Louis historically a good team versus lefties. But, the Cardinals have not been spectacular this year. And then there's Joe Ryan coming off a CGSO, like one of his best starts of his career. Nobody's going to own him in Atlanta.
Nobody,
4%.
Dean. Dean, you know
Zero.
who used to own Joe Ryan? The Tampa Bay Rays. Can you believe the Rays traded him away? What a bunch of numbskulls, man.
Well, they're like, they're like, 21
they traded Joe
2.
Ryan for Nelson Cruz. That's crazy, man.
Well, yeah, they do, but typically they're on it. They every once in a while they're entitled to goof, right? They traded for
overrated, Dean. Overrated.
Well, they got Glass now from the Pirates for I believe nothing. They got a Rosarena from
what else?
Crazy to call them overrated. They put out a
great name for Glass now since he's made of glass.
Oh, such little payroll.
when he throws baseballs, though, he's spectacular. Yeah, they do spectacular things down there in Tampa. So, yeah, Chop, you kind of said nobody's going to own Ryan. You're making 150 lineups. It sounds like. Is he in your pool? 4% currently on DK. I'm going to venture like his Fanduel.
Nah.
No, you're just not doing it.
Well, Dean, there's some good pitchers, but they have terrible matchups tonight. Atlanta Braves, one of the best make a case there's the best offensive baseball. Like if it's a 10-game slate or something, sure, maybe I consider it depending on who. But look at the guys on the board here. I don't have to go that route, even though I think he's a great pitcher. But at Atlanta, it's like Kershaw at Colorado. Can Kershaw go and pitch well tonight? He could. Do I have to take that chance in Coors Field with these other guys on the board? And I'm not getting a discount on price on either one of his last 3 games at Coors Field. Kershaw, 16 innings, 14 earned runs. Like it's not like Coors Field gets to everybody pretty much at some point. And so he could go 7 shutout innings tonight, but I don't have to take that chance with all these other studs on the board. So I'm not pitching Joe Ryan. I'm not pitching Clayton Kershaw. I'm sticking to, I do like, again, I'm going to go again with the Whitlock call. I've been on him every time I've been on the show and he's pitched. I love his stuff, man. So I'm going back to that one. And then, the studs up top, I think if I'm going to spend up, it's going to be one of those 3 guys at the very top. Even Gallen is he's really good. Tampa Bay can be really good, though. I'm middle ground about him. But Framber, Gausman, Shohei, yeah, I can do that. Dean, you know what else I saw today? A crazy thing. But when Shohei pitches,
yeah,
his hitting stats are through the roof compared to when he DHs. Like, I don't know if it's that he's just more in tune with the game and, like, you're not so bored sitting over there on the bench waiting for your time to, every 3 innings to come up in. But, like, his hitting numbers when he pitches are monster numbers. But
it's funny you say that because last year I remember them being terrible. So maybe it's just small sample stuff. Like he was, by his standards, really, really bad last year when he was pitching. He rarely homered when he pitched. But that's probably just small sample stuff, I think. But that's interesting you said. But obviously we can't roster him. And no Trout either kind of hurts that lineup. We did get the Mariners as far as lineups jumping out. Crawford, J-Rod, France, Hernandez, Cal Raleigh still back there, pretty cheap on Fanduel. Suarez, Kelnick, I wish he was batting higher. Ford and Wong. Washington did add a lefty. They do have a lefty in their bullpen now. I think he pitched, if not yesterday, he's pitched like 2 of the last several days. They finally figured out that maybe they should get a lefty in their bullpen. Joe LaSorsa did not pitch yesterday, but there is one available, just worth noting. Colorado, by the way, unless I'm missing something, they do not have a lefty in their bullpen, which I think is of note, seeing that they're facing the Dodgers. Maybe there's like a long man that might come in. I haven't thought that far ahead, but I believe there's no lefties in that Rockies bullpen, which again, bold strategy, Cotton. All right. Kirkwood, as far as these, go ahead.
I got to say something. I got to shill for a second here. I never do this, but I'm going to do my best TJ impersonation and hit the like button for us. Chop and I said we do a lot of shows with Dean. We have created the reach around stack. We have created Juggalo bombs. We have created Dean's dinglings. We try to make it fun, right? Well, we helped make that a thing. Yeah, Dean's Dongs was first, but I think Dinglings is a little better. But hit the like button. We don't have to beg you anymore. We give our analysis. I'm going to tear through Whitlock, and hopefully we all make some money tonight.
Give me your Whitlock sales pitch. And like the thing is, he's got to be better than. Well, I don't think he doesn't necessarily have to be. I suppose you compare the two of them together. But when you're talking about Whitlock, you're comparing him as contemporaries. Tonight, he's facing Brian Wu. He's facing Gavin Williams, Martin Perez, and Ranger Suarez. So you think he's the best amongst that group?
I think you're getting I think I think the pairing is the Nature Boy,
okay,
and Whitlock, and then you can do anything you want. Anything, you can go 1 through 5 dodge. Anything. So okay, here's my analysis. I wrote this is what I wrote. I said nobody seems to notice Whitlock is #good. Last start disappointing against the Twins, although it was okay because the price was small. But his defense was horrendous. If you watch the Red Sox games like I do, the defense just was awful. Devers made some plays that weren't called errors that were just bad. And he had a really a lot of frustrating innings. He still got 6 Ks. He had 18 swinging strikes. He's got 3 like really solid pitches. It's a sinker, fastball, sinker, but it's a sinker. He pairs that with the changeup and the slider. The slider is probably the worst of the bunch, but it's improving. But he's a strikeout guy. On today's slate, if you go through the rankings and swinging strike rate, he ranks 5th. He's right up there with 13.3% with everybody, right? So there's really basically it's Wu who is the top one at 14.7, Kershaw 14.5, Joe Ryan 13.6, then it's Ohtani and Whitlock. So Whitlock is tied with Ohtani for swinging strike rate, right? Called strike whiff percentage, he's also in the top 5. He was ranked 4 there, and he's tied with Kershaw there. It's Ohtani, Wu, and then Kershaw and Whitlock. The Marlins lineup, first of all, they're not that intimidating in the first place. Yes, they get Jazz back, but 7 of their 9 batters in this lineup have at least a 23.5% K percentage. So their whole strikeout rate is all dwindled down because of Araz does not strike out. We all know that he's got a 3% K rate versus right-handed pitchers, but it's 7 of the 9 batters. So with Wu and Whitlock, you have massive upside. You don't have the pitch count. Carty has him at a 92, or I think that's what we have him at. Wait 1 second. Anyway, so yes, pitch. He's not going to go 110 pitches, which is great when you get a guy that can go that deep, or 108, 105. You're taking a little hit there. But you're getting him at such a discount on a slate where paying up for bats is going to be so important, because even if you're not playing the Dodgers, you're going to have to beat the Dodgers. And so you're going to need some of these high upside bats. Yeah, maybe Grossman has a big game for cheap. Maybe Aaron Hicks has a big game for cheap. Leday has a big game for cheap, but the percentages aren't with you. You know what I mean? So that's my pitch for Whitlock. So I think he's the key. He's the key for me. I'll go down with him. You can ride with me.
You're going down?
Chop
with the ship on Whitlock. Come on, man. We're all doing the Whitlock thing tonight.
This is a family show. We got
the Whitlock.
People got to see their kids home from work right now. I got in the background.
And by the way,
picking up their kids from school.
It's insensitive to say go down with the ship after what happened to the Titanic explorers this past week. Man.
So apologize. Apology?
Yes. Not to me, maybe to the families. Dean, listen, there's a lot of people in chat. They're clamoring for Juggalo bombs and Triple G. So I'm gonna give out a Triple G real quick, and then we can work up. So get some likes, man. Let's get some. Dean, what kind of Triple G would you like? A totally off the radar Triple G? Would you like a typical Triple G where I think this is a good 4 single night for this guy, and then maybe we get something, some peripheral activities after that? What kind of would you like? A cheap Triple G, one that
I don't want the 4 single guy. 4 singles are worthless.
You don't. Okay,
no,
let's scratch.
You're projecting.
Okay.
Is it Luis Arise again?
No.
What am I doing with 4 singles? I need
that
4
guy
events
not
to
money.
get there.
Luis Arise has a freaking 3% strikeout rate, man.
I know.
Like, I want that guy
Good
in my
for
line.
him.
I want that guy leading off my team, man. I wish the Astros would trade for him.
I want Acuna leading off my team.
Oh,
Good luck to your
not
team.
everybody's gonna. How are you gonna get Acuna, man? You're not gonna trade Acuna away for a rise.
You're talking about leadoff hitters. You can just pick one out of the
for a rise.
Is actually
a realistic.
Good luck.
Rise is actually a realistic target in the trade market. Come on, Dean, you're ruining the Triple G play with this nonsense. Okay, Dean, I'm gonna go completely off the radar here, all right? Because we're in a crazy slate tonight. I've already mentioned Kershaw, trouble in Coors Field. I just do not expect him to go in there and just pitch this clean game where he's just shutting people down and all that. I'm going Elias Diaz. Man, off the radar.
What's the BVP there? Because
I don't know.
Not anticipated.
It's not a BVP play, Dean. When I say BVP, this is a BVP play. That's my BVP special. This is a
suggestion.
Triple G.
That's a suggestion.
Yes.
I feel like there's BVP though. There's no way you just.
There's probably something. I mean, it's two National League teams going at it, and I'm sure there's something there.
Same division.
But this does not pertain to BVP. This is strictly just an off the. What's the numbers on Diaz? Probably got to be less than 2%.
He's 6 for
right?
12 with 3 singles.
No, Dean. I'm talking about ownership numbers. I ain't worried about.
Oh, nobody's
2.5%. Yeah, there we go. So there you go. Boom, bang, bomb. You get a bomb out of this guy at that ownership. You might be all right at that position. Yeah, I like that, Dean. That's why. But let's get some likes now. Let's get some likes going. That was your teaser. I'm gonna tease you a little bit, but get the likes so then Dean can finish you off
with a couple of digglings.
Maybe with a reach around stack. We have a
Juggalo bomb?
We need more likes before we do the Juggalo bomb, sir. Come on, Dean. Do you not know how the game works?
I don't know what the official number is. It changes depending on the day, depending on the slate, depending on the, how chat's feeling, depending how Kirkwood, how many he's got land layaway. How many you got on layaway there as far as Juggalo bombs? 2, 3, 4?
I can whip up a few, but what dinglings you jumping on tonight? Why don't we start there?
I actually don't have a dingling just yet, but I can come with one on the fly for sure. I did not come prepared with dinglings. I thought I was well prepared for the show, but apparently I was not.
Did you not know we were doing a show today? You didn't?
I did, but I was not thinking in terms of dinglings. Dongs! I was ready for that, but dinglings, totally different thing. A's lineup is out, by the way. There's no Diaz again, which is interesting. Is he hurt? Why is he missing games of late? Kemp, Noda, but he must have like an incentive, like too many. If he's stealing a stolen bases, they're going to give like $1,000 bonus, and they don't want to give him $1,000 bonus. Kemp, Noda, Blade, Brown, Rooker, Peterson, Langoliers, Wade, and Ruiz. We're still waiting for the Dodgers, right? Patiently. That's the big one. I imagine we're going to see a bunch of lefties in the Dodgers, and I feel pretty safe about them sticking around. Assuming Colorado is without lefties, I'm pretty sure. Do you see any lefties in that bullpen, Kirkwood? Because unless they bring in like a long man that I'm not aware of, I'm looking at the bullpen stuff and who's available. I don't see lefties in there.
Where are you on, MLB Doc? What source are you looking at for the?
I will look at Baseball Press, and then I'll look at Fangraphs. Also has like their current iteration. You go to like their rosters on Fangraphs.
It would be nice to have that correlated into Plate IQ, right? Maybe it is already.
As far as how many lefties, how many righties in the bullpen?
Yeah.
I mean, you just put it in the suggestion box. I'm sure Jamito's not busy at all.
No, he's got a team of fantasy labs now doing it all for him.
Busy taking naps.
Oh, come on.
Taking shots at Jamino?
That's not right.
That is uncalled for. I am pulling it up here. Let's see what we have here as far as Colorado. I'm pretty certain. But every once in a while, again, you get one of those like long man that's in the rotation that if things get ugly, and certainly things potentially could get ugly, we'll see. Probably Grant's going this game. I don't know how to change things. Grant Nefer going to the game. Is he a mush or not a mush, Kirkwood?
Grant? No, Grant's not a mush.
Okay, he's going to the game. Just I don't know if that changes things for you as far as your analysis.
Nope. Okay. My Spidey, my Juggalo bomb first Juggalo bomb is a little bit of a revenge narrative going back into Chicago. Kyle Schwarber against Jamison Taillon, even with the wind blowing in and not the best hitting weather on the night. But I think Schwarber is going to hit a dong tonight.
Brandon Belt openly talking about how he just wants to homer against his former team. I'm not sure if you saw that, but that I think is worth noting. The long man in that game for the Giants, is it Alex Wood? Is that who's expected to come in? I feel like I saw that someplace.
Yeah, I think she's wrote that or Mania.
Okay, so either way, a little bit concerned about Belt maybe sticking around, right? Left on left. I'm not sure if he would get the immediate hook, but, we saw the Twins the other day, and it's different organization, different philosophies, but they gave the hook right away to their lefties when a lefty came in the second or third inning. A couple of their lefty starters only got one inning. I don't think they would do that immediately, but
it's a
just
trend,
worth noting.
Dean. It's a trend. Dahlback got the hook.
Yep.
After I don't even know if Dahlback got in that bad, and he got the hook.
He had one.
Man.
He struck out.
Good.
And
good
Casas
job,
came in for him.
Good job, Bobby from Boston.
Yeah, it's just sort of worth noting there. Let's see at the chat. I thought someone was going to be helpful. They're just making jokes about the long man. Yes, keeping with the theme of the show, I suppose. But all right, other pitchers that we should talk about. It's so weird. The slate is so loaded. We haven't even mentioned certain names that are like on other slates, legit. If nothing else, Taj Bradley. Taj Bradley has the best K rate in the slate, boys. I don't know if you guys know that. He does have an issue as far as going deep, but 88 pitches is a projection as far as his pitches. Elder's been pretty good. He's got a legit skill as far as his ground balls, but I don't know if he has a big enough K rate when you consider his asking price and just his slate. It's probably a no-go for me, but I'm not going to sit here and say you can't do it. Boss Bro is talking about Blackburn for Oakland. Kirkwood, you got a Blackburn take by chance?
Is Lip controlling his account today?
Well, Lib usually likes the Oakland bats.
Eric,
I'm not sure if how he feels.
No, it's also Oakland pitcher. And you know what? If you go watch any other show in the industry, he's in chat and they're saying, and he's saying the exact same things.
He's manipulating the ownership for sure.
Oh, it's pretty funny. No, I have no interest in Blackburn.
I mean, again, if he pitched yesterday, I guess maybe. I don't know, but the way this slate is lining up, it's going to be hard for me to get to him. Chop, you have a Blackburn take. Well, how many pitchers do you have in your pool? You're making
Blackburn.
150 on FanDuel. Are you whittling it down or what?
Yeah, probably about five or six. Like,
oh,
Blackburn. I ain't got no, man. We got 30 pitchers out there you could choose from. Now he hasn't been terrible. He throws a bunch of stuff, a bunch of junk, and the Yankees are terrible, but like there's just not enough. There's just too many decent pitchers on this. Like, if I can't play, I'm going to throw an example out there. I don't think I can play Tyler Wells tonight. And Tyler Wells has actually been good this year. But I can't even play Tyler Wells. How am I going to play Blackburn? Tyler Wells.
Those Reds are tough, man.
Well,
I can play Wells, but the price is just.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, the price, but. The only thing I'm just kind of looking at matchup driven for me mostly tonight. Since De La Cruz came up, Dean, did you know the Reds are averaging over 6 runs per game? This is a tough lineup. You got De La Cruz, you got Will Benson, the Butler, you got Matt McClain, Die Hard. They got some great nicknames. They got some great nicknames in the lineup and some really good hitters. And even though Tyler Wells has been good, he's just a guy that. That's just an example. I can't play Kershaw, Joe Ryan. I'm not going to play Tyler Wells. So, yeah, I'll pass on Paul Blackburn.
If you look at the plate IQ, Cincinnati is like all red. I'm sorry, it's all green. It's all green with the exception of, I believe they're 9-hitter, right? Yeah, Luke Miley, whatever, the throwaway catcher. But otherwise, they're all in the green as far as WOBA, as far as ISO against righties this season. Wells is okay. But and this ballpark is better for, it subdues righty power much more so than Cincinnati. But again, I'm not going to play Wells. I'm not actively looking to pick on him necessarily. Yeah. I like the Reds offense, but probably not today.
Yeah, but Dean, also I'll kick in there because I guess it was you that said it earlier. One guy that is still in my pool is Ranger Suarez.
There it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a terrible matchup. The Cubs aren't the best matchup against left-handers, but I think this guy is matchup proof. to a certain extent. He was really good last year. These last 3 starts have come against Atlanta, the Dodgers, Arizona. Those are 3 tougher offenses than Chicago. He's whipped up a little, 19 innings, 2 runs, 22 Ks in these last 3 starts against much tougher offenses. He's finding his groove, man. He, like I said, he was really good last year, very underrated, and I have no qualms about saving money on him tonight as opposed to some of these other guys.
51% ground balls in the season, and the weather today in Wrigley, according to Weather Edge, 173 game sample. That's a big enough sample for me to get excited. For me, I think it's useful data. We've seen homers decrease in similar games at 28% rate. Runs decreasing at a 12% rate as well. 68 degrees. Wind blowing in from left center at 9 miles per hour. I feel pretty good about it too. And he is a ground ball guy, doesn't give up a ton of home runs. And the Chicago team, if they're going to get you, it's probably with a homer. And this homer is just a little bit trickier today. They do have a fair bit of power in this lineup. And the K's are not amazing. It's actually a pretty contact-heavy lineup outside of Morel, Swanson, and Mancini. But I think Suarez is cheap enough, and I think you get the QS out of him. We'll see. I'm definitely playing some. My shell lineup on Fanduel currently has them because I'm getting some really awesome bats. Trying to see if we get any new lineups coming in. We're still waiting for the Dodgers to break. I saw somebody in chat asking about Montgomery, and I think it's, again, the same old answer, Kirkwood. Not today, right? Montgomery, it's just a not today. That's what it is for me.
Yeah, I actually have a dumpster dive if you want to get a little crazy.
My team Perez?
No, I like that. That's not crazy though. He's like,
okay.
He's been around the block. Jake Irvin. Against,
I was gonna say Irvin, but then I scratched him off because I was thinking, man, these guys are gonna make fun of me if I say Jake Irvin.
Oh no, come on in, Chop. The water's warm. You know,
these guys
are in Seattle.
So his velocity's up 2 ticks.
Yeah.
To 95. He had a 38% called strike whiff on his fastball, on his four-seamer. He's basically got a 3-pitch mix, but he's got a curve that's like hit or miss. If his curve is working and his fastball velocity is still up, he went 87 pitches. He had a 34% called strike whiff in the last start, and that was against Arizona, who's doesn't strike out a ton. No one's going to play him. And Seattle strikes out a lot. Seattle's boom or bust.
3 guys in that lineup that go 30+% strikeouts, and then another few go 25% or more. Only a couple guys who are really not really prone to strike out. I thought he was a very interesting play.
Is he better than Gavin Williams? Gavin Williams taking on Kansas City, no Sal Perez.
I'd probably rather roll Gavin just because there's a real, like, that could be a massive upside right there. Massive.
Yeah, we didn't really mention him, huh? We should have.
Yeah, I mean, just that's the tricky thing, is it? And again, I mentioned Taj Bradley.
This is like when
nobody cared.
This is when I like to get on him on the second starts.
Yeah, and the first one he had a rough inning against Oakland, basically. Otherwise, he was mostly
one bad hitter, basically a 3-run homer, right? Otherwise, first start right out the gates, like that wasn't terrible.
He was throwing 97, 98 in the very beginning. He dropped, then he went down to 95, 96. But it's nice to see that he's got a 98 mile per hour fastball.
King of Smack is asking about David Peterson. I think he was hitting some optimals earlier, which I thought was weird.
The bat loves him. The bat hates Whitlock too, by the way.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, Peterson, if he's going to be chalky, and also there's weather there too. I just went ahead and dropped that in chat. Somebody was asking about it.
Maybe not the bat. Maybe it's someone else.
I think it might have been RG's content. I think our Plate IQ stuff might have liked him. If I'm not mistaken, I was running some stuff, which he's cheap. Obviously, is the biggest endorsement, and the matchups.
The bat has.
The bat's got him the 4th highest projected pitcher because of Milwaukee.
Okay, well, Carty will be on talking about him, and I think that's. We'll leave that one for Carty. I'm not. I don't think I'm playing him, especially if the bat is going to pump up some ownership on him a little bit.
Did the bat love Verlander yesterday too?
I don't recall. Yeah, I'm not sure. Verlander was very, very lucky to survive that game. If you watch that, he was very lucky.
That was like the worst pitched 17.5-point fantasy game. He was out of there early. It was like pitch count was through the roof immediately. Yeah, he was lucky to get that.
Jose is asking, who do you play for cash, Taj or Wu? I would say Wu, just because of salary.
Wu is the cash play tonight with one of the top. Yeah, with Ohtani.
I think Ohtani and let's see. I just ran our plate IQ stuff, and I put some variants in there as well. Ohtani at 50%, Peterson at 35. I'm not on board with that, but okay. Do what you want. You're adults.
We got to spell out who the Nature Boy is for the people that don't know. So the Nature Boy is Ric Flair Wu and Wu. So Brian Wu is the Nature Boy.
All right. Producer Steve, drop a GIF for the people. There's a lot of good GIFs of Ric Flair you can pick from for sure. Let's give a summary as far as pitchers. We have to talk some stacks. Of course, crunch time comes in about 20 minutes or so. You got Chief Meteorologist Kevin Roth. Kevin Roth will give you some clarity as far as that Met game and several other that potentially may have some issues. We'll see what he has to say. We'll take you all the way up the lock on that one. STL Cards will be in. Shirley complaining about his Cardinals, who are forever giving him grief. They went over to London. Did they lose both games in London? I know one they got walloped. Maybe they lost them both. Not really sure. By the way, I was thinking jet lagged, right? That was the other angle I had for St. Louis and the Cubbies, picking on the Cubbies. I don't know. Flying back and forth, they got to be a little tired, right? Is that an angle, Kirkwood? That's another reason why I like Ranger Suarez. A little tick of a reason. The Cubs are tired. No?
Well, then wouldn't the Cardinals be tired too, so we can play Framber?
Yeah, you can always play Framber, and nobody's playing him.
Always play, yeah. And
funny how he was selective like that.
Interesting, Dean. It tells a lot about your character.
No, I was talking about Rangers. And I like Framber. I think Framber is great. I just kind of wish it was on like a different slate. But I mean, look, just human beings. I know they're in comfortable flying conditions. They're not cramped up next to somebody sleeping on their shoulder or whatever. But still, it's kind of annoying flying back and forth. They had a long weekend. All right. Give me the summary, Chop, as far as pitchers go.
Whoa. I don't know. Just there's a lot of good guys up top. Grab a few of them. So the three big dogs, Shohei, Gausman, Framber, I think are all fine. I think it's a matchup-driven night. I'm personally not playing some of the tougher matchups like Kershaw, Wells, Alcantara, even though the matchup's a little bit easier without Ishida. Gallen, yeah, I get that matchup. 4 Gallen kind of pushes him behind the top 3 for sure. Joe Ryan matchup, not so great. So I'm kind of a draft. And then when I go to save money, I like Ranger Suarez. I like Garrett Whitlock, Gavin Williams. And that's probably where I'm going to stick at, somewhere around that range right there.
Eric wants to know if you can play Suarez in cash.
I don't mind it.
I don't.
Yeah, it's not like it's not terrible.
It's probably okay.
I don't know that you can get 2 of the elite guys in cash or in a lineup. I don't think you can play like Gausman and Framber or something together. So you got to have one where you save money. Saving money, he's as good as any of the other salary saver options, I think.
Wasn't specified, but we're assuming that was DK. If it's Fanduel, I probably wouldn't go Suarez in cash. If it's just one pitcher, probably wouldn't go that route. Ohtani is the way you want to go in Fanduel as far as cash, at least what I was messing with earlier today. What do you want to add, Kirkwood, as far as pitchers? We'll talk about stacks in a second.
I mean, Suarez is tough. It depends on your overall lineup, but like there's a lot of opportunity cost at third tonight. We got Muncy back. We got Jose Ramirez. You could play Devers. You could play. There's a lot of big poppers in there, but if you could, improve an outfield spot with that, I don't have a problem with it. Sorry, what was your question?
Just what do you want to add as far as pitchers? Anything you want to accentuate? Anything you want to point out? Anything Chop was wrong in? He's giving the people wrong information, or you don't want to repeat it? We have a little bit of a time constraint as well because we still haven't really talked a ton of hitting. We've sort of talked it as we're talking about pitching, but I did want to get your thoughts as far as stacks before we
top end. Shohei Gausman. And if you want to, like, for max centering, it's a good night to use some of these like Joe Ryan, Framber, or Zach Gallen types that are going to come in extremely low owned for who they are. The mid-range, Tyler Wells is certainly playable. Kopech is playable for some sneaky upside. Taj is playable. I even think Sandy Alcantara is playable. I don't even remember which is the right way. And I just watched his last start the other day. I always go off based on what other people say. They always flip me up. But anyway, Garrett Whitlock, I love. He's my play of the night, 7,100. I love Brian Wu at 6,900. If you need to go cheaper than that, Gavin Williams and Jake Irvin would be the super deep sleeper there. But I mean, that's too many, right? There's a ton of pitching.
There's a lot. Like, there's always so many.
I'll tell you, my lineup is Whitlock and Wu.
Yeah, I kind of gathered that, and you're just getting all the bats, and that's one way of being different. Like, you're going to have some Dodgers, almost definitely, but you have a different pitching combination. So, yeah, at least that's what I'm hearing. I'm not speaking for you, but that's it sounds like you're doing. At least somebody's asking about Martin Perez on FanDuel. No, there's no chance I'll pay Martin Perez AK on FanDuel. He's just an SP2 guy on DK. That maybe you can eke your way to 15 points, but there's no chance. Chop, you're playing 150. You're not playing Perez, right?
No, I'm not playing Perez. The thing is everybody's programmed to see Detroit and want to play against them. Yeah, against left-handers, they're actually pretty decent. They don't strike out nearly as much. They have a few guys in that lineup that have some power, and Perez has had a great little run, but that expected ERA is climbing up around 5 this year. It's not a terrible matchup. And guess what? Let me check. I don't know
His
if I can
percentage is down to 15% this year.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely not K'ing anybody, but I don't want to give away too much of Kirk's proprietary information, but can I give away it's 103 right now, and it's only climbing as far as temperature. So
wait, is the roof closed or open though?
Your guess is as good as mine.
The roof's gonna. Well, my guess is if it's 100 degrees, the roof's gonna. They built the roof for a reason.
Well, it's nighttime. Well, at nighttime, maybe they think, maybe they think it's gonna cool off a little bit. I don't know, but
you tweet John Blake is the guy's name. He's like their PR guy for the Rangers, and he usually tells you what color uniforms they're wearing and if the roof's gonna be open or not.
It doesn't even matter. He stinks. Perez is not that good. I don't think he's that good. I think he's kind of lost it from this little run he had recently. And I don't think that lineup says – I think they're actually a sneaky stack as opposed to playing Perez. So – and hey, Dean, I don't know, was the roof closed last night?
I don't know.
They put up a 7-piece against a much better pitcher than they're going to be facing tonight.
His name is Ranger Blake, I think is his name. That's why I can't find him. I'm struggling over here on Twitter trying to find this person.
It's never mind.
Roof's got to be closed, right? Yeah. So
he was acting like he was looking at my weather proprietary model. And my model strictly has that game crossed off and says roof closed. So I don't.
The roof was closed. Well, nobody told me the roof was closed.
100 degrees, Chop. I mean, could you imagine going to the game and they let you bake in the sun? This is in Arizona.
Yeah, well, that's what they do sometimes in the summertime, daytime baseball. They bake.
We do have 3 fire emojis, by the way. Chop, we have 3 fire emojis according to Ross Weather Edge.
Is one of them Texas?
Well, no, because it knows that the roof is closed.
I can't believe that you guys think that AC is gonna cool off that whole park when it's 105. Some of that heat seeps in, Dean. It seeps in.
It's $1 billion ballpark. I hope the AC works pretty well.
It's a retractable roof. It's not like a Ziploc baggie, man. Like you can just tighten it up all the way. Like the heat's going to seep in, Dean. That's why they scored 7 runs last night, guaranteed.
No, it's because they faced a terrible pit. So we have fire emojis in St. Louis, a fire emoji in Kansas City, and a fire emoji in, of all places, Colorado, Coors.
Yeah, it's 90 degrees in Coors.
Do want to mention, it's 88. You want to get all technical. There's a crosswind at 12 miles per hour, but in 69 previous games of similar weather, we've seen a boost in home runs at 23%, a boost in runs at 12%. Before we talk stacks, do want to mention about Stat Hero. Stat Hero, unique fantasy sports platform you already know and love that allows users to compete against the house instead of other players like Chop or Kirkwood. There's Searing 20 contest for MLB Pick'em that's still going on. Join the free-to-play contest. Win to start your streak. Keep your streak alive by playing each day. Build your streak. Win prizes with consecutive wins, including swag, RG Premium, and a cash prize. 20,000 smackers, $20,000 first prize with a Searing 20. Use the promo code GRINDERS. That's GRINDERS, GRINDERS. 50% deposit bonus up to $250 at Stat Hero. Getting in the action today. Again, promo code is GRINDERS. Kirkwood, pay attention. I'm going to run down our consensus value plays when it comes to our favorite stacks. Number one, not surprising, it's the Dodgers. Dodgers number one by far. Consensus, myself, yourself. STL cards will be on in a bit. Napster Man as well. We all the Dodgers first. Texas number two. Seattle third. San Diego fourth. Then the Mets. Cleveland a little bit of love. And Philadelphia a little bit of love. How do we feel about that board? Anything too high? Anything too low? What do we got to kick off? What do we got to throw back on there? Well, I guess you put 5 on there. So you're part of the reason why the board is what it is. And we have identical boards, essentially. Same teams, just shuffled up a little bit differently. Feel free to give me your thoughts when it comes to stacks today.
I froze out. So
Kirkwood.
can you hear me?
Now I can.
You can hear? You can't.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Would you be able to answer that question?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you. Okay, I'm back. I had to switch
no worries.
internets. All right. So Dodgers, obviously number one. I'm playing it with different pitching, and I want all the bats. So everyone's going to be doing like a Peralta or a Hayward if they make the lineup, or an Outman, to make it more cost effective and pay for pitching. I'm going to go right for all the top ones. That's one strategy for me tonight. And I like the Padres, although they seem to be fighting in the clubhouse. People are saying there's a lot of rumors going around
Today,
on Twitter.
or
Yeah,
I missed it.
Yeah, it just broke. But I like the spot. Maybe. So I think they have upside against Rich Hill in that bullpen. The Mets I like. Against, Tehran, everyone. We got to keep martingaling against Tehran, right? We can't stop.
I'm gonna have to crash in your couch if it happens like a couple more times, though. It might be it for me, but go ahead.
I'm gonna need you to pay a portion of rent, is what I'm gonna need. But other than that, what's the
Seattle, San Diego,
yeah,
the Mets,
Seattle,
Texas.
Yeah. Texas, that's one I forgot. Chop, but now that the roof's closed, I don't know if I can do it. Chop told me before the show. Chop told me before the show when I did my rankings that the roof was open.
Well, it's not a Ziploc bag. Come on.
Yeah, there's still huge gaps where the weather seeps in.
What out in left field? Like, what do you mean huge gaps? It's a brand new ballpark. The gaps are already there's already issues when it comes to keeping the heat out.
This is crazy behavior out of you, Dean. Yeah, you acting
like
just because it's a retractable roof. You acting like it keeps we can get in there and it won't flood. It'll flood, Dean. If there's bad weather, it'll flood. There's leaks in there, Dean.
You're saying it might flood in Texas? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying that it's not waterproof. If it's not waterproof, 100%, then it's not weather. It's not heat proof.
That was an old Stevie Ray Vaughan song. Remember Texas Flood?
No. Before my time.
You know where Texas Flood? Stevie Ray Vaughan plays behind his back? No idea?
No.
Like the greatest guitar player of all time?
I'm aware that he's a very good guitar player. I've just never heard that song. Not my forte. Blues is not my forte, Dean.
All right. Fair enough. I wouldn't. Okay. I was going to say, I wouldn't. I don't think he's a blues artist necessarily, but all right. Well, we could debate that on another show.
He's a rhythm and blues guitarist.
Yeah, Southern rock. I don't know what we would technically be classified as.
Rhythm and blues would be.
Now the chat's going to get fired up. Is Eric Clapton the greatest guitar player of all time? Apparently, according to Derek. I don't know. I'm not sure. The people. Hendrix, of course. He's in the board. Sure, why not?
What about
who's
Guns N' Roses? The
Slash.
Slash.
No,
Teddy Van Halen?
There's a great guitarist that never really like made anything good, but he's an insane guitar. He was in that. I think his name was Virgil in Living Color. Or no, Color.
Cult of Personality. There was they had the
What's the name of that band?
Living Color.
Yeah, that's his band.
Cult of Personality.
That guitarist is insane.
Prince. Prince played everything amazingly though. Like he played every instrument.
Have you ever seen the movie Crossroads with Ralph Macchio?
Wait, I thought that's with Britney Spears. Crossroads.
No,
Burning,
1986.
that's who it is.
Crossroads, Ralph Macchio, guitar movie. If you haven't seen it, that's a good one, man. It's a good movie.
I don't think I have. I'm not sure if I'm aware of it. No, I remember there's a Britney Spears movie called Crossroads. That's what popped up.
I've never heard of that. I've never heard of it. Britney Spears.
It's like a tween movie. Yeah, I don't know.
No,
it was a thing like 20 years ago.
Ralph Macchio, Crossroads, about he sells his soul to the devil for the guitar or something like that. He has to go down to the crossroads and play the guitar with the devil for something. I don't know, for his friends.
I know. I've seen him at the crossroads.
It's pretty awesome.
Their song.
Wasn't there Eric Johnson instead of Eric Johnson, like a crazy good guitarist?
I don't know. Yeah. Brian Johnson was the lead singer for AC/DC. That's a different person altogether.
I used to play guitar.
What happened?
Went down other roads.
You had a crossroad and you went to
actually the guy who was in the band the same high school band with Aaron Lewis of Stained was my teacher at one point.
Okay. That guy's got a good voice. All right. We shall
anyway, let's go. Yeah.
Let's see. If you have any questions, by all means, we're happy to answer them until the crunch time crew comes in about 5 minutes or so. Your second favorite stack, if we're going to get away from LA, Chop, say you're doing a single entry contest. I know you're running a bunch of lineups on FanDuel. I guess on DK, you're probably in some single entry stuff. Who will be your second favorite stack on the board? All things considered.
All things considered, with that friggin' heat seeping in, I'm going Texas. The Texas Rangers, man.
Doubling down. I love it.
What inning can we expect the heat again? Is it already bacon?
Dean, you must have not heard about these rolling blackouts in the state of Texas for the heat advisory. They're liable to cut the AC off mid-game, Dean, and then all of a sudden it's 90 degrees inside and the ball's flying out of the yard. You got to be careful, Dean. You got to know these things. Rolling blackouts in Texas, look it up. Anyway.
I think that happened when I was vacationing in Cancun when it happened. I'm pretty sure. I remember reading about it, but I think that's why I don't recall personally, but yeah, I remember reading about that.
You were vacationing in Cancun when there was a rolling blackout in Texas? Is that what you're saying?
Sure.
Did you run into Ted Cruz down there?
That was the reference I was making, Chop. I figured.
Oh, okay.
Without flat out spelling it.
All right. Fair enough, Dean. You got me. All right. But I don't like the it's not the best lineup that they could have put out. Obviously, we've mentioned a couple guys who are sitting earlier, but it's still, man, it's Detroit, and this guy's not good. But even more so than that, Matt Boyd has to do Tommy John surgery. He's got Tommy John from last night. Like, he's done. He's right. You're aware of this, Dean.
What does that do today? That stinks. Obviously,
he left in the first inning last night, and they had to go through the entire bullpen to hold off the Rangers. So.
Yeah.
How's the bullpen going to look tonight? Incredibly weak, I would imagine. So
they only had 3 guys work yesterday: Bradford, Burke, and Rodriguez. How is that possible? Who came in? Did like another starter come in? Who came in? There's no way they could have finished that game in 76 pitches, right? Is that possible? Or maybe they were super efficient. I'm not sure.
I don't know. Good
maybe
question.
Somebody was sent down.
The Cuban Missile did his job. That's all that I cared about.
Yep. The Cuban Missile. I wrote him up yesterday. He got there.
Garcia, you're talking about? You like him today?
I mean, I like Texas today, period. Like, I don't like the watered down lineup, but I just deal with it because it's a weak starter, a weak bullpen. So I'll go that route. I think Kirk mentioned Schwarber earlier. I kind of like Philly as an off the radar stack.
That's what I like too. But the weather's not great there, but still Tyon is looking rough.
Yeah.
How many more feet do you get on your homer when you have revenge? How many more feet we're talking about for Schwarber here, Kirkwood? Does that make up for the difference as far as the weather?
Yep. That's why I called them a juggalo bomb. So I'll tell you who the bat likes for the people who want to just know what the bat says.
Carty's going to be on in a minute, but yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay, then forget it. But
yeah.
they like Cleveland. The bat likes Cleveland under the Dodgers. The next best. Brady Sanders.
I saw
bad,
Cleveland getting some love.
I'm not. I mean, it's just so hard. I mean, they got to it takes a long time to get there with that team. I like a team like Philly that could go off with home runs. I like a team like San Diego Padres that could go off. It does like the Atlanta Braves even against Joe Ryan. I think that's a pretty good call.
Nobody's playing the Braves.
But before we leave, I mean, the people want to at least get a pair of Chopper's knockers.
Oh yeah, and what are those exactly?
Home run calls.
Okay, that's what they are. Okay.
Oh,
Just
man,
another way.
dang.
How is that different than a triple G or juggalo?
Well, the triple G is supposed to be like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, you messed that one up, Dean, when you requested. We
had already changed to Chopper's knockers.
Yeah. All right. So let's go with the. You know what, Dean? I'm gonna go. First of all, BVP player. Somebody mentioned in chat they stole my thunder, but Big Meat Pete, BVP player of the day.
Oh, yeah.
Big Meat Pete. That's a pretty easy one. Let's get some home runs on the board. Let's get some knockers out there. I love me some knockers, brother. Love me some knockers. So I'm going Nate Lowe. Get a little piece of that Texas stack. And let's go Manny Machado.
What was the
so wait, you gave three knockers? You gave three knockers?
Well, one's a BVP, one's a triple G, and two knockers.
I thought it was like Total Recall. I thought it was Total Recall where he goes, I wish I had three hands.
No, bro.
We both
what was the kerfuffle? Give me in 30 seconds, Kirkwood. What was the issue there with San Diego in their dugout? Who was fighting with who?
Tension in the Padres clubhouse is rumored to be at a breaking point, with finger pointing, strategy disagreement, and accusations of laziness and poor preparation from certain high-profile players all common. A real lack of team cohesion. Many fear the once hyped season is doomed.
What? That's like, what do we do with that? What does that even mean?
I'm just saying, there's rumors to be locker room issues right now, and no preparation. So that's
is that from like the Ballsack Twitter account, or is that a real Twitter account? Where's that from?
I'll tell you 1 second here. It's possible.
It sounds like
the person who posted it does get faked very easily. This is from 52,000 followers. Dan Clark Sports, baseball articles, hot takes, banter, etc.
Okay, fair enough.
53K followers. That's I'll take that seriously.
Unless
it's like a Settlement, Jack Settlement, when he puts out something like he's got like, man, have you heard that, Chop?
He's a cloud chaser, right? That's all he is.
You can't be more wrong on everything whenever he puts out.
Who are his sources, Dean? Like, who's actually calling or texting Jack Settlement to give him breaking news? My sources.
It's certainly not anyone who took his Top Shot advice.
Oh my gosh. I'm still buried from that one.
Yeah, well, at least you're not blaming that one on me, Kirk. When you always blame me, I guess it was Settlement, the advice you took.
You and Big Chief.
I catch Shrapnel all the time.
That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you and Chief are what put me over the top.
I'm sorry you're so easily manipulated and you don't think for yourself. Did I purchase those Top Shots, or did you purchase those Top Shots?
It's tough when you watch a trusted show with someone that you consider a friend and work and a colleague.
Listen, let's just
that these are great buys. And
I'm merely a host. I just ask questions.
We got, at least we cut our losses and didn't go with Tambo on the $50,000 LeBron.
We almost chopped Tambo. You should see our Discord messages. We had a private Discord chat. 3 of us were going to go in and buy a LeBron. It was like $60,000 at the time or something.
My
God. Would be worth. We would have lost it all.
It's worth $12 right now.
Yeah, probably.
Roth Carty cards. Where do you guys sucked in on the Top Shot shenanigans, the hype many years ago, or not so much? I'm saying
absolutely not. No,
I never bought a single
cards.
One. I spent about $100.
That's a win.
Do you still have them, or you got rid of them?
I still have them. They're sitting somewhere, and I actually have a buddy that I was talking to yesterday that wanted to know what the trade was doing for his Top Shots value, because he has both a John Collins and a Rudy Gay moment in his collection. So I've got, I don't even know, maybe I can get $1 for each of them now. I probably got maybe 20 moments, maybe get $20 back.
Yeah, John Collins went from $1 to $1. You can update your friends.
Yes, but I mean, he's got a John Collins that's like serial number 12 out of 20,000 or whatever. So, in theory, those would have been worth millions back in the day.
All right, well, fair enough. We'll have this conversation on another show. Roth, the people
How did this come up?
Weather?
How did Top Shots come up on the MLB show today?
Kirkwood has a way of complaining to me about having him buy Top Shots at least once a week is the over-under. And
yeah, but I didn't start it today. I said Jack Settlement, and then you brought it close to home, and you mentioned about how I blamed you.
I caught shrapnel. Yeah, because like subconsciously, I feel like you're attacking me at the same time because I would just be guilt. So many.
Yeah, it sounds like complete guilt.
You guys have anything else for Roth for Carty for cards? Because we want to hear what Carty has to say about the pitcher for the Mets because the bat seems to like him more than we do, and I'm curious what Carty has to say about that. And we need Roth to talk about it because can we even pitch pitchers in New York? Well, you have to get that clarity as well before we step aside and get out of here. Chop, anything else for the people, Kirkwood?
No, we're good. Thank you, everybody. And Carty's gonna hate my Whitlock play, so just don't listen to him when he trashes him.
He's not even to talk about him. He's not even to acknowledge his existence, probably.
Well, he's going to recommend a Miami. He's going to recommend a Miami stack, I bet.
Roth, people want weather. Take it away. Appreciate y'all watching the first portion.
Good stuff as always. Welcome to it, ladies and gentlemen. It is crunch time. The show is sponsored by Fanduel. We're going to take you up to lock. We're going to take you through lock. And we're joined by two of the sharpest minds in the biz. We got one, Mr. DerekCarty. He is the creator, inventor, CEO of the Bat. What up, Carty?
Not much. How's it going?
It's going pretty good. We got some weather concerns. We'll get into that in a bit. But
we need to know what's going on with this New York game.
Yeah. Had to get both kids from daycare. So I'm like forecasting with two kids on me and just like it's been kind of a nightmare. But that is life. We'll figure it out. We got STL cards as well. Cards, how are you, man?
Yeah, gonna have to put on my N95 mask to go outside tonight. It is weirdly smoky here. I am not used to this. I know we had the spell in the Northeast, but it's like sunny here today, but you can't even see the sun. It's very strange. So it sounds like it's not going to impact the Chicago game tonight. But I got home and said, "How much have the kids been outside today?" And my wife said, "Kind of a lot." And I said, well, it's very unhealthy air right now. So, she feels like she's about to win Mother of the Year. But, I don't know. It's weird outside. It kind of feels a little apocalyptic outside here in the Midwest today.
Yeah, and we can blame our guy TJ because these are Canadian wildfires. So TJ started the fires and they're coming through basically everywhere in the Midwest. But the key point that you mentioned was that it looks like the Chicago game is still a go. There were like some minor concerns earlier, but I think that game is going to be fine. The main weather concern is New York. And if you recall yesterday at about this time on about this show, I was very adamant that no matter what happened in Baltimore, you should play your guys. And I felt very confident. I have nowhere near that level of confidence in what is going to happen tonight in New York. I don't know what they're going to do. Storms are moving in. And then they're going to slowly fade away. But I don't think the rain is going to be gone till 10 o'clock. So if they try to play now, I think there's a very good chance pitchers are out. Like if they don't late start, there is a very good chance that they have an early delay. So Carty, I think you were talking about a pitcher in that game in New York.
Yeah. So it sounds like I can't play him, huh?
If they don't late start, I think there's a very good chance that guy gets bounced for like a multi-hour long delay. So if they announce a late start, then the question
it'd still be pretty risky though, right?
Exactly.
It's a matter of whether they're going to wait 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah, right. That's exactly it. So if they start, then I think there's a very high likelihood of an in-game delay. If they don't start, it's probably not going to be dry till like 9 or 10 at night before they can start playing. So there's also a chance that they just start it and maybe the Storms fizzle out a little ahead of schedule and they're able to play through the rain. So I don't know I don't know what they're going to do mostly. I'm intrigued to see, is there a tarp on the field? So I don't know. We'll figure this out as we go through the show.
It's been a horrible year for the Mets, so you can almost guarantee that whatever they decide is probably going to end up being wrong, just because that's the way that things have gone for the Mets this year. But yeah, we'll see.
So we've got that game, and then there's also Baltimore. Do we want pitchers in Baltimore, Carty?
Yeah, if we can't play New York, we need Baltimore, Roth.
Yeah, fun. Okay. That's the other game where there is a chance for a delay. Let me look at the very latest radar. There's just some redevelopment. The coverage is pretty low, but it is certainly possible that a quick little storm goes up over Baltimore. I don't think it would last too long, and I don't think that it's hanging around all night. I don't think it's a high likelihood, but there is certainly a chance of a delay in Baltimore. So that is the weather. I feel a lot better about a pitcher in Baltimore than New York, assuming they don't late start in New York. So that's what I got. Okay. Awkward pause. All right. Okay.
You've got news that's more impactful for how Carty plans to build his lineups than for me. I'm okay pivoting away from those games. I think there's playable options there, but I'm not heartbroken if we can't. Okay.
All right. Well, let's dive into the slate in general now. Of course, I will give you updates on weather here as we go through the next 30 plus minutes, let you know what exactly is happening. John points out, hey, it's 15 games. We don't need any of these. I like that mentality, man. That makes sure. Don't ruin it, Carty. Don't ruin it. I enjoyed that. Hey, also make sure
there is a third guy that you can play, which there's one other guy you don't lose too much with.
Okay. And again, I think the Baltimore pitcher probably works out, like realistically. I just want to let it be known it is not a risk-free play there. Hey, make sure you sign up for the Fanduel Sportsbook if you're in a legal sports betting state. Take advantage of their awesome bonus offer. New customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 in bonus bets. Terms and conditions apply. Carty, talk to me about pitchers, including, rain worries and then, other options as well.
Yeah, so we have a top tier tonight of Shohei Ohtani and Kevin Gausman. Ohtani's definitely better. He's not a lot more expensive on DK. He's actually a little bit cheaper on FanDuel. So he's definitely like your top guy of the night. Then you're kind of deciding who you're pairing him with on DraftKings. And I think there's three options. The first is the guy that is in Baltimore, Tyler Wells. He's been really good this year, has had a much longer leash than he was given last year. He's against this bad, strikeout heavy Cincinnati offense. They're taking a pretty big park downgrade. So Tyler Wells is definitely in play. Then you have the guy in New York, David Peterson, who is considerably cheaper. He's like, 6.6K or something like that. And he's exactly the kind of guy that YouTube chat will not like because they are such recency bias donkeys that they just will not appreciate David Peterson. David Peterson is a legitimately good pitcher who has had legitimately awful luck this year. If I were to tell you there's a pitcher on this slate that this season has a 10.4 strikeout per nine, a 3.2 walk per nine, and a 52% ground ball rate, and he's facing a team that everyone loves to target for strikeouts, and he's only like 6K, people would be freaking out if they didn't know it was David Peterson. David Peterson.
Let me tell you, you were spot on about the chat's reaction to this.
Of course. They think he's terrible because they care about a 404 BABIP. Like that's going to be, sustained. David Peterson is really good. He's doing the same thing he did last year when he had a 3.83 ERA, and he's just had bad luck over a few starts this year. He went down to the minors and was good, and all the coaches raved about him because guess what? He's actually good. And so now he's back up. He's in a good matchup. He's cheap, but we have rain, and that sucks. If you are not playing David Peterson, which you should definitely do it in GPPs, but in cash with the rain, you probably not. But if you're not playing Peterson, and if you're scared about Wells, or even if you're not scared about Wells, even just want another guy in GPPs or whatever, you have Brian Wu against Washington. I've talked about him on shows before. He's a rookie. He's come up. He's good. He's been great so far. He's basically picked up exactly where he left off in the minors. He's facing the Washington Nationals. His price on DK especially is still really cheap at 6.9K. So if you're scared of Peterson, you're scared of Wells, play Woo. He'll be the chalkiest of the three because he has more of that kind of track record and prospect hype. Wells and Peterson both project a little bit better, but those are kind of your three options, I think, for SP2. In terms of like GPP pivots, Zach Allen, I think, is really good tonight. Martin Perez, I think, is fantastic tonight. And that's probably where I would draw my line.
Okay. Carty, I hate, no offense, but when it's Carty and Cards, the two names are too similar. I screw it up constantly. Cards, what are your thoughts here pitcher wise?
Yeah, I think it's the first time we've been on the same day this year too. Somehow,
so frustrating.
It's going to get you a little bit, but
Yep.
yeah, I mean, we're kind of in agreement on the guys. I'm just not.
Oh,
I
the
don't
other
have
thing I
quite
forgot to
as
mention
much-
about Peterson. Sorry, one more thing.
No, go ahead.
Okay.
He's striking out 10
Please.
guys per 9, the same as he was last year. If you look at his stuff plus numbers, like everything under the hood is exactly the same, except for all the luck metrics. So if people think he's bad, they can think he's bad, but they're wrong.
Okay. All right. Just randomly cut him off for that, but all right.
Yes, no, I mean, it was just one more point in his favor. You got to mention it because everyone is like, Peterson sucks, but they're wrong.
Look at this. J3 says, I agree with Peterson. So there you go.
Well, and the one thing is, we've seen Milwaukee, striking out a lot, and their numbers, their splits against left-handed pitching are even worse than, what you would expect just given their overall numbers. I mean, their strikeouts against lefties have been through the roof. So, yeah, I don't disagree on the Peterson call, assuming the weather is fine, but I don't think there's any reason, particularly in cash games, to chance it. If there's a weather concern. So to me, Woo is the guy, simply because, he's got a lot of strikeout upside. He's going to struggle with power. So you got a low strikeout opponent, but a low power opponent as well. The Washington's projected for about a full run less. Their strikeout props are both 5.5. Peterson does have a little bit more juice on the over, but on DraftKings, I think it's Ohtani, Gausman, and Woo in some combination, mainly for me. And I agree with the Gallon call in GPPs. On FanDuel, I try to get to one of the two. I try to get to Ohtani or Gausman with only one pitcher. Woo isn't really cheap enough on FanDuel to be in play for me there. He's a little bit more of a tournament play on FanDuel if you want to play him, but DraftKings is probably the better spot to target him. I've seen a little bit of love for like Ranger Suarez today, and I'm not sure what's the wind in Chicago right now, Roth.
It blown in from left. I had it at about 10 miles per hour to start the game and then tapering off pretty quick as the game goes on to like 5.
Okay. So Suarez, if you're making 100 lineups, maybe you throw him in some DK lineups, or you can swap some Wells or Peterson exposure if the weather is an issue there, but wouldn't be a primary play for me. I mean, it's mainly one of the aces plus Woo on most of my DK builds. You can do a double ace build if you want. If you're going with a cheaper stack, that makes it pretty hard to get the top bats, and there are a lot of good bats tonight. So most of my builds, I think, are with one of the cheaper pitching options, just because if you're trying to play Gausman and Ohtani together, you basically can't have the Dodgers and Coors or a lot of these other high-end spots.
Quick note on New York. I don't think it's crazy to play a pitcher there. I think there's a chance that the rain doesn't move in until, halfway through the game, and you get what you want out of this 6K pitcher. So I don't think it's insane to do it, mostly for tournaments. I think for cash, we've already discussed for many reasons it could be risky.
That's a lot of color on that radar that you just tweeted out, though.
The radar looks real bad, but it's just very slowly moving that way. So maybe they get an hour and a half in before any rain gets there. That would be the hope. Okay, let's talk about some of the stacks and some of the hitters. I feel like we've done pitchers pretty well. I
got one more fun fact about David Peterson, guys. I got one more fun fact.
Let's hear it, Carty. I'm intrigued.
Go to Fangraphs, which is the prominent stat site that everybody loves. Type in David Peterson and look at what his projections say for the rest of the year. The bet says a 4.62 ERA, which is like average. Steamer says 3.46, which is amazing. And Zip says, ATC says 3.90. So like every projection system thinks he's actually good, guys. And that 8 games is not a big sample.
Wait, were you just talking about ERA though? I thought we hated ERA and it didn't matter.
Projected ERA matters.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
I'm a Mets fan. Peterson's bad.
Hey, let's talk about some of the bats and some of the stacks. Let's do it. Cards, you get to lead us off. What's good, Carty?
Stacks we're talking about?
I was going to say, I didn't know who you wanted to go with because you said me once and you said him once. I'll let Carty go with it.
Cards, not Carty. Cards.
All right. The Dodgers and Coors tonight. I mean, it's going to be the next 3 days. You don't need us to sit here and tell you the Dodgers are projected for 7 runs in Coors Field. You know, you can play the Dodgers. They're probably going to have, maybe 5 of the 8 highest owned bats tonight. The team that's projecting well that I am probably off is Cleveland. There's no power in that lineup. I'm still somewhat of a believer that Brady Singer is better than the surface numbers indicate. You can always play Jose Ramirez, but the upside of Cleveland as a stack usually just isn't there. So I'm in on the Dodgers. I'm out largely on the stacks for Cleveland. My favorite kind of under the radar stacks would be Seattle. And then if the game goes, I do like the Mets as well. Obviously it's 15 games. So, there's a lot of teams you can play. Texas, I think, is interesting. So those 3 would be my favorites after the Dodgers.
Okay. Carty, what are your thoughts here stack wise?
Yeah, Dodgers are the best. They're going to be super chalk. If you're playing something off the wall, like say David Peterson, you can play Dodgers pretty easily. If you want something different, the bat really likes Cleveland tonight. And you don't even, what's up? You don't even have to lose a lot of projection to get 2 other teams that the bat likes. What is going on?
It sounded like Cards went like, psh, but really he just opened a soda. But it sounded like he was disagreeing with your.
I thought he was going to say
that's fine.
I
don't like Cleveland, so it was appropriate. But yes, I was not audibly saying anything.
Okay, I missed kind of the end of that. I got thrown off because that was excellent timing by that Coke bottle.
Cleveland's good and cheap tonight. But the 2 teams that, there's like 10 or 15 teams that are all pretty close tonight. But the 2 kind of at the top of that stack are 2 that are going to be super low owned. So I really like them. And that's the Atlanta Braves and the Boston Red Sox. Both are facing really good pitchers, so people aren't going to play them. But they're both in really great environments. It's really hot in Atlanta. And the Red Sox are in Fenway, and Sandy has been not Sandy this year as a kind of a contact oriented pitcher. Fenway is not a forgiving park for that. And I think the Marlins on the other side of that game are good. I think the Royals as like a cheaper stack option, and there's another handful that you can play for sure.
Okay, very nice. Okay, let's go position by position. We did get, I kind of like this question. I'm going to scroll up here because Milkman says, can we talk about other cheap pitchers besides Peterson and Wu? If you're going to say Dodgers are the best play all over the place, is there other cheap guys that we're interested in pitcher-wise, Carty? Any other names or not really?
I said Martin Perez. I like him a lot as a cheap guy. Yeah.
Okay, very good. All right. No tarp on the field for Citi Field at the moment, which makes me think they're going to play on time, and we'll see how long they can play before the rain moves in. I do think the rain is going to move in. Carty, what do we got a catcher today?
Yeah, we are kind of going to say that the Dodgers are the best at every position because they are. I don't think we have a lineup there yet, but presumably Will Smith will be in the lineup at catcher. And if you can spend on him, that's awesome. You should probably try to do it. Even on Fanduel, where you don't have to play a catcher, I think you can definitely consider playing Will Smith because outside of LA's actual first baseman, like he's better than literally everybody else on the slate. So Will Smith is great. If you want to save money, you definitely don't have to spend up for him. The guy I think you save with is probably Bo Naylor at the bottom of Cleveland's order. He's 2.6K. He's got the platoon advantage. Like just punt it and spend at other positions. the mid-range, you have guys like William Contreras. You have Elias Diaz. You have Cal Raleigh, who are fine. And certainly Sean Murphy has a one-offer in your Brave stacks.
Okay. I do have to give one, by the way, over 700 people are watching and we've got under 200 likes. That number needs to get way up. Those are rookie numbers. We got to pump those up. Hit us with a little thumbs up here. We're trying to keep the show free for as long as possible from our sponsor, Fanduel. We need likes and subscribes to make that happen. So make sure you hit the like. Quick weather note. Actually, wouldn't be fully shocked if they have a quick late start in Pittsburgh. Either way, that game is 100% fine. It's just a little showers kind of about to move over them. But the game is fine. Just if you see something like, oh, late start, don't freak out. The game's fine. Cards, what are you doing at catcher?
Yeah, I agree with the guys that Carty mentioned. I think Raleigh is really interesting for tournaments. Totally fine. Even though I'm not on Cleveland a ton tonight, I'm fine with the Naylor punt if you want to go there. I think Jonah Heim is decent as well, especially in the Texas stacks. But if you're spending up, Smith is certainly the guy that's going to project the best. So it's probably all we need to spend on catcher tonight.
Okay. How about first base, Cards?
Yeah, so Freeman is the obvious play. We'll move along from that. If you got money and you want to fit a Dodger in there, you can play Freeman. I think Nate Lowe is probably my favorite Texas bat tonight when you factor in salary. Obviously, they've got the other guys at the top of the order that are great, but he's only 3,100 on FanDuel, and you can play 2 first basemen on FanDuel if you want to. So he's fine. Justin Turner's fairly cheap. Josh Bell is really cheap. Again, I'm underweight on Cleveland as a whole, but Naylor, Bell, those are a couple more Cleveland guys that are going to have some ownership tonight. Don't be afraid to go super contrarian in some GPP builds. Like Carty mentioned, nobody's playing the Braves. Been a long time since we've been able to get Matt Olson at like 3% ownership. Bryce Harper, though the weather isn't as good there, you can play him at first on FanDuel. Certainly guys on a 15-game slate that are going to get overlooked as spend-ups at first base because everybody that's spending is going to be playing Freeman. So interesting tournament pivots there.
Okay, very good. Carty, your thoughts at first?
Yeah, I agree. Freeman's your top guy, but you don't have to get up there. I like the Cleveland guys a lot as alternatives. Josh Naylor or all the way down to Josh Bell. I think you're in great hands either way. And I really like the Matt Olson thing in GPPs.
Okay, second base.
Miguel Vargas is probably one of the Dodgers you want to think about prioritizing tonight just because he's so cheap and second base is so terrible. He hasn't been great this year, but the bat expects a bounce back, and Coors is a great spot for it against Connor Siebold, who is really, really bad. If you're not playing him, on FanDuel, you have Mookie Betts, who's second base eligible. You can certainly think about playing him. You have Andres Jimenez in that Cleveland lineup that I like for 2.8 on FanDuel for really cheap. Even 3.9 on DK, though, he's still probably one of the better plays on this slate. I don't really love any of the super cheap stuff tonight. I guess if you're really going down, Ji-Hwan Bae is probably the guy you're going to do it with. 2.5 on DraftKings. On FanDuel, I don't think you'd go any cheaper than Miguel Vargas or Jimenez, kind of in that same range.
Okay. Cards?
Oh,
yeah,
and Ozzy Albies in great stacks. Yeah.
The position isn't very deep. It's been one of the weaker positions for a long time now, but probably a position where you can eat some chalk if you want. I tend to pick on Bryce Elder more than I should. It's burned me enough times you'd think I'd stop doing it, but Julian at the top of the Minnesota order, I think is okay as a value play in GPPs. I'm not going to, throw the book at stacking Twins tonight on a large slate, but he's fine as a punt piece. Though I think, if you just go Dodgers here, and that's fine, and you can differentiate your lineups in other spots.
Okay. How about third base?
All right. So third base is probably going to be a spend position for most. Again, we don't have a Dodgers lineup, but everything I've read seems to indicate that Muncy's going to be in there tonight. So he's one of the priority spends. He's a little bit cheaper than Freeman. He's a little bit cheaper than Betts. Of course, you have Jose Ramirez if you like Cleveland, and he's the one Cleveland bat that is a scary fade pretty much every night. But I like the pivot to somebody like Machado tonight against a softer tossing lefty. We've got single-digit ownership on him, low ownership on Devers tonight. Andy Ibanez maybe as a punt if you're not on Martin Perez. He's basically min salary. You've got Suarez. I really like Seattle as some cheaper bats tonight against a low strikeout pitcher. I know they've been bad against righties, but Suarez, one of my favorite tournament plays at third tonight.
Okay. Carty, your thoughts here at third?
Yeah, definitely the Muncy thing. We're waiting for the lineup, but if he's in there, you're playing him in cash. Love Jose Ramirez in GPPs because I love Cleveland tonight. And I love Rafael Devers tonight in tournaments, especially. Well, in tournaments only, but against Sandy, like a lot of people aren't going to play him, but he's consistently one of the absolute best third basemen in fantasy. And this matchup is better than people think it is, and he's going to come at low ownership. So I love him. Love Austin Riley for Atlanta for kind of the same reasons. And yeah, that's third.
Okay. I'm kind of increasingly convinced
Justin
that
Turner also for Atlanta.
Okay. I'm kind of increasingly convinced that in New York, you get enough innings out of your pitcher before the rain moves in that it could work out. I'm not saying that is a definite thing, but I feel better about it now than I did at the start of the show. At the start of the show, I thought it was really risky, but this rain is like, it's weakening, and that means it's slowing down at the same time. So I feel better about the Citi Field, the Mets game now than I did an hour ago. Still,
I mean, that's nice to hear. Yeah, I still don't think you need to risk Peterson in cash with that kind of risk, yeah. But I feel like you should be totally fine rolling them out in GPPs with that.
Yeah, I like it. Baltimore update. There's just a chance of a delay in Baltimore. If something pops, models are showing a broken line. And that means that a broken line, you could get part of the line segment where it's a legitimate shower and they have to do a brief delay, or you could get part of the line that is nothing. And there's just not going to be any way to know. I think you play pitchers in Baltimore, and I'm certain hitters are fine. I think even if they do get a delay in Baltimore, it's quick enough that it probably doesn't yoink pitchers out of the game. Okay, I think we just finished third base and we're on the shortstop, Carty. And by the way, Fernando Rodney has asked for more likes, so please give Fernando Rodney more likes on this YouTube video. Okay, Carty, your thoughts at short? I think you're muted, bud.
I am. Okay. Mookie Betts for the Dodgers is shortstop eligible on both sites, is a guy that you should try to get up to if you can. If you can't, you do have Fernando Tatis on FanDuel, shortstop outfield eligible, hitting second, platoon advantage against Hill. And he's just really good. So I like Tatis quite a bit. Who are we looking at cheaper? Wow, there's not a lot of cheap stuff tonight. Like Carlos Correa on FanDuel is probably the cheapest I would go. And I think you can also do like a mid-range thing with like Bobby Witt or Francisco Lindor. On DK, if you're not spending all the way up for bets, you're probably doing like all the way down to David Hamilton or Jordan Westberg or someone like that. I prefer to try to get up to Mookie, but I don't have a problem punting it if it means spending up at other spots.
Okay. Cards, your thoughts at shortstop?
Yeah, I don't have an issue going cheap either. I mean, I think, again, I like Seattle, so I think J.P. Crawford's a reasonable play. You've got Rosario, who's fairly cheap on FanDuel as well. I mean, other than that, I mean, Carty obviously mentioned the top options. I don't think I have much else to add at shortstop tonight.
Take me to the outfield then.
All right, so you're going to get the chalk with the Dodgers, whether Mookie, depending on where you're playing them, particularly on FanDuel. But then you've got David Peralta, you've got JD Martinez. If Hayward's in there, you got him. Jazz Chisholm is back for the Marlins. He's hitting cleanup tonight. So that'll be a reasonably priced option. He's a little bit discounted at 3,200 on FanDuel, a little pricier on DK. But he's a decent FanDuel play. Again, I like Seattle, so you can play Julio. You can play Teoscar Hernandez. Matt Vierling leading off is pretty good against lefties. So those are quite a few of the options that I like tonight.
Carty, how about you?
Yeah, obviously I like the Dodger stuff. I like Mookie Betts. I like Jazz quite a bit going into Boston. Like Card said on FanDuel, he's much cheaper and is pretty much a cash lock over there, but definitely viable on DK too. JD Martinez for the Dodgers. I don't know if Cards mentioned him, but especially on FanDuel, he's definitely in play. And then you're kind of looking at like, I don't know, cheaper stuff, one-off type stuff. Like cheap stuff I like on DK. MJ Melendez in that KC Cleveland game, I like quite a bit. Henry Davis, 2.2, hitting third for Pittsburgh, I think is good. They were, I believe, priced for Yu Darvish, and they're not getting Yu Darvish. So them as a kind of cheap stuff to plug in and fill in, they make a lot of sense. Jarren Duran leading off for Boston tonight, I love as a one-off. I love him in your stacks. I agree with the Matt Vierling thing. Ji-Hwan Bae, I mentioned earlier. I like him as a cheap guy. Over on FanDuel, you have Melendez again. You have Duran again. And Jorge Soler, I like a lot in tournaments. It's a huge park upgrade. He's really good. He's got monster power. I don't think people are going to be paying enough attention to him. So I like Soler a lot tonight as a GPP play.
Okay, nice. We have about 13, 14 minutes until lock. We need some home run picks, and it just so happens we have a whole computer system that is dedicated to finding the most likely guy to hit a bomb. That is called the bat. Carty, who is most likely to hit a bomb, and what's your favorite home run bet?
Most likely to hit a bomb is Jorge Soler, who I just mentioned.
Okay,
nice. Yeah. If we're looking at bets, oh man, that's a gross one. All right. Michael A. Taylor plus 1,000 over at PointsBet is a really good bet. Adam Duvall plus 575 as a guy who's a little more likely to hit one, 20%. Looks pretty good too. And Soler even at plus 360 is awesome.
Yeah, very good. All right, Cards, what are your thoughts here homer-wise? You don't need to say, betting odds. Just who do you like DFS-wise?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much committed to going to Seattle here. I think Nate Lowe is interesting for Texas if you want to go there. But Julio, Suarez, Cal Raleigh, some of those middle-of-the-order Seattle guys that tend to have some strikeouts against a low strikeout pitcher. Give me the Mariners, a couple of those middle-of-the-order guys tonight.
Okay, very nice. Guys, this is the time of the show where we take some questions from you. So get your questions in the YouTube chat. And make sure you're hanging out with us on Discord. That's where I will start answering the questions. Give us a little thumbs up. We'll subscribe. We do this every day, like a lot of times, 2 times a day, which is crazy, but we do it. So make sure you are subscribing so you know when our shows are live. Dean says, hey, Kevin, how do you feel about New York Mets bats? Basically, the chances of delay leading to a game in like 6. I don't know is the honest truth. I don't know. I do think that there's a chance that if and when they get a delay in New York, especially if it's in the latter half of the game, which I think looks increasingly likely, that could just be it. So I do think that there is some risk there with New York bats, but I truly just don't know with any real sort of confidence. And if I did, I would tell you, but if I don't know, I also have to tell you that. So I think there's a little bit of risk there for sure. Crazy Coop says, what is your take on the Padres starting pitcher? Carty, is it on the Padres starting pitcher also is a 3-man pirate stack in play? I see. Okay. His plate IQ is more lit up than Ross' latest Mets radar tweet. So I assume this guy sucks, Carty.
Yeah, I never know how to pronounce this guy's name. Reese Neer, whatever his name is. You're definitely not playing him. I think Pittsburgh against him is pretty interesting. It looks like the bat's projecting him for a 74-pitch cap, so I want to check and make sure, but presumably he hasn't been going very deep and isn't stretched out, so I want to take a look at that.
Okay, very good. Circle back, let us know. In the meantime, Cards, I'm coming to you. Gausman or Ohtani in FanDuel Cash? Cards.
Was that Gausman or Ohtani?
Yep, FanDuel Cash.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're not doing it wrong either way. I would go Ohtani. Seems to project slightly better, maybe a little bit more K potential there with him, but I mean, either guy is fine.
Okay, nice.
So
Carty,
this Reese Neer guy hasn't thrown more than 64 pitches all year. Has mostly been used in the bullpen in the minors, so you get a few innings out of him, but you're not playing him, and Padres prices are not adjusted for him.
Great. Okay. Very nice. Let's see. Carty, can we get pinch hit risk? This is from James for the Dodgers and Josh Smith. Is there pinch hit risk over there?
Let me take a look. Peralta's always kind of their big pinch hit guy. We don't have a lineup there yet, right?
I don't believe we do. Yeah.
Hayward and Peralta are both about 30%. Do we have anybody else? Nobody else really of note. And then Smith, Josh Smith was the other.
Just randomly. Yeah.
Josh Smith is 16%.
Nice. Okay. Very good. Thank you. Cards, do we feel that Wu will do enough to get the quality start since he hasn't done that yet?
I just hate that stat. I know it matters on FanDuel, but it's such a antiquated stat. But I mean, you look, okay, his last outing was 5 1/3, no runs, so he's 2 outs away. Previous outing, 5 2/3, 2 runs, so he's 1 out away. He's gone 90 pitches plus in both of those, and it's not like he's walking a lot of guys. So now that he's facing a team maybe that's a little bit lower strikeouts, maybe not going quite as deep into counts. I mean, his odds of going 6 innings, I would say, are a little bit higher than in those last few matchups. It's not like they're limiting him to 75, 80 pitches. He's gone over 90 each of the last 2. So, frankly, not a thing that I really even look at all that much. You just can't bank on it. But, yeah, he's definitely more likely tonight than he has been his first few Major League starts.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Cards, right back to you here with this question. It is DK Cash. You want Will Smith and Jay Bell or Naylor and Freddie Freeman?
I presume that's catcher Naylor. So let's see. Will Smith and Josh Bell or Naylor and Freeman. Yeah, that's a tough call. I think you're going to see some people on similar boats tonight. I think I'd go Naylor Freeman.
Okay, nice. FanDuel Cash. Carty, this one's for you. I don't know what this means. Just Dong or J-Ram? Is Dong a person? We don't know.
I don't know what that means.
I don't either. I have no idea. Okay, Carty, we need a DK shortstop that is 3-1 or less for a large field GPP. Can you make that happen?
3-1 or less. You're not looking at a great price range there. Let me see what we got here. I think, honestly, you're probably going all the way down to David Hamilton, and then you're just spending the money elsewhere. There's nobody else.
Okay. FanDuel single entry cards. If you played one lineup tonight, would you risk Peterson and spend up for bats or just play Ohtani?
That depends on A, your love for Peterson, and B, your risk tolerance. That will vary individually.
Risk it.
I'm
increasingly thinking weather-wise it would work out, but obviously there's other things at play.
I mean, I'm fine. I am not captaining the train like Carty is with Peterson. I'm on the same train, but I'm not the engineer, the conductor, if you will. To me, it's fine, but I wouldn't do it with one entry. If I was doing, a 3 max, maybe you put him in one.
Sure, that makes sense.
I don't know. I mean, if you ask the same question to Carty, he's going to say, yeah, do it. So it all depends on your individual perspective. There's going to be varying schools of thought there with Peterson tonight.
Yeah,
I think he's
that's
fine.
fair. All right, Carty, what are your thoughts on Palacios as a FanDuel punt? Palacios.
He's leading off for Pittsburgh tonight. He's a super high pinch hit risk guy. He's probably like 50%. Let me look. 40%. So you're definitely not playing him in cash. In tournaments as like a last piece, I guess.
Okay. Okay, we got a couple questions. We got a question from Ashvin Suresh. He says, what are the main bats that you want to get to on DK? So Carty, as you look at like how you're building, let's say a cash build, is there a few guys that you feel are key pieces that you really want to make sure you have?
I mean, it's going to depend on the Dodgers lineup. If Max Muncy's in there, I want Max Muncy. I probably want Miguel Vargas for sure. And then I don't think there's anyone else that's like a must-have. Those would be the two that I basically would play no matter what, assuming they're in the lineup.
Very good. Let's see. All right, playing one build on FanDuel. Would you rather, Cards, play Elder or Whitlock?
Oh, gross. Neither really. I am not playing Bryce Elder. I'm not playing either, to be fair. If you're going cheap, Peterson, Wu, depending on how cheap you need, I know he's not as cheap on FanDuel, like I guess Whitlock, but I don't really have. Neither guy is in any pool of mine tonight for what it's worth.
Okay. Your favorite Oakland bats from Fernando Rodney Cards. He says, I'm feeling some A's. Who are your favorite Oakland bats?
Yeah, I've tried that Oakland stack a few too many times this year as the cheap. I mean, that's the stack that you can play to get to an Ohtani Gaussman build on DraftKings, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Ruiz is a guy that you can always play for stolen base potential, but he's batting ninth tonight, so I'm not really on him. They've got Kemp leading off, so he would become the stolen base guy. Ryan Noda has good splits against righties this year, and Seth Brown's got some pop, but so I guess it would be Noda and Seth Brown, maybe Rooker, probably in that order.
Okay, great. DK single entry GPP. Carty, back to you. Is a 3v3. Rogers, Ibanez, Hayes, or Heim, Grossman, Suarez.
Sorry, repeat that for me one more time. And what was the format?
Yeah, it was a DK single entry GPP. Rogers, Ibanez, Hayes, or Heim, Grossman, Suarez.
That's probably the second one. I'm not in love with either.
Okay. Dan Jan making you work for it again, Carty. 3-1 or less on DK in the outfield, and he's already playing MJ Melendez.
All right, 3-1 or less in the outfield. You're looking at. You're just missing on Duran. You have Melendez. Matt Vierling, I guess. You're not at a great price point there.
Okay. Jay Sam says, Cards, what are your thoughts on a Tiger stack with power bats from the Dodgers on FanDuel?
Yeah, I'm not in on the Tigers. I mean, Martin Perez is a guy that he's just consistently going to pitch to the point where he's good but not great, and you think he's going to be worse than he always is, but does a good job of limiting damage. It's hard to string a bunch of hits together against him, and it's the Tigers who have trouble stringing hits together against anybody. So if you're going like vomit stack tonight, I think I would go with Oakland before I went with Detroit.
Okay. FanDuel GPP, Detroit or Pittsburgh. Cards, right back to you here.
Yeah, give me the Pirates over them too.
Playing for the Dodgers in chat.
No Vargas. Okay.
Yeah, so that's a big one.
A big one in what way? Just a dude you wanted to play that you can't?
Probably.
I mean, he was one of the two guys that said I'm playing no matter what. So.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay.
Muncy is expected to be activated, they're saying.
Okay. Mike says, hey, what's the latest on the weather situation? So 2 games that I'm watching, the first of which is in New York. I think there's a likely delay. I'm increasingly convinced that delay will come at the halfway point of the game or later because storms are just a little bit slower as they weaken and move that direction. So I don't think pitchers are crazy. I do think there's a chance that the game doesn't finish if and when the rain moves in, but it's not either that I'm certain that will happen, but there's a chance of that. And then in Baltimore, there's a chance that something pops up and causes a brief delay. And I can't tell you if it's going to happen or not because it doesn't even exist yet. It's just, will it pop or not? So there's a chance for a brief delay if it happens in Baltimore, but not a very good chance. About a minute here until lock. FanDuel Cash Cards. Do you want Duran or Melendez?
I'll take Duran.
Very good. FanDuel GPP, Detroit or Pittsburgh. I feel like
we did that one.
Yeah, we did. Carty, is Eloy Jimenez good at baseball? Is Eloy Jimenez good at baseball?
Yes, he is. The Chicago White Sox are the most underrated offense in baseball right now.
Very nice.
And Chad is going to
more hot takes
about that, I'm sure.
More hot takes coming. Carty, how do you feel about Outman?
Everyone in the lineup's like pretty good.
Yeah, they just are sucking, but the sum of their parts is smaller than their individual. Josh says, Carty, how do you feel about Outman?
About who? Outman?
Outman.
He's fine. I mean, he wouldn't be like one of the first Dodgers I'm looking at, but you can certainly play him.
Very good. We are less than a minute until lock. Hey, did you realize this show is free? Do you remember how much you paid for the show? You paid nothing. All we ask is that you hit a little thumbs up for us. That is your payment. It's a little thumbs up. It's right there on the YouTube. You click it, and then we get more people watching, and then our sponsor keeps the show free, hopefully. Shout out to our sponsor, FanDuel. We very much so appreciate it as we roll right into the lock. And we have answered all of the questions. You guys ready to get out of here, get some dinner?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that works for me. All right. For Carty, for Cards, for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes. Guys, we appreciate you. We love you. And we will catch you tomorrow. You have been crunched.